What's up, guys? Okay, so I'm gonna be making a quick video. Now I already made this once. I ran into some issues, but I fixed those issues to what I could find to my ability. As far as I know, it's fixed, so this should work 100% all the time. I'm still working out slight details. Um, if the fix that I think I did is the fix, then cool. If not, I'll make a little update to it and everything, and yeah, just pause. I'll make a video or something of like things to look for when doing this, stuff like that. But essentially, I'm going to be teaching you how to. This is for Rollin specifically. I mean, you can do this with any mod, but this is something as specific to Rollin that I'm going to be walking you through. Um, it's basically going to eliminate the need for Mod Studio 2 or ATS Studio, ETS2 Studio, whichever one you're using. Um, to build your skin files for the Rollin truck. Um, because everyone's running those issues with the Toby J files and being corrupted things because of MS2 and the way they do it. It's outdated, broken, and it just causes issues. So this is a way to bypass all that, and it teaches you a couple skills for modders. It's not something new. They're gonna have to figure out it's something old, but um, they'll just be applying knowledge they already know to do this for the Rollin. Excuse me. But we're gonna get into it. As you can see, right here where my cursor is, this is what I'm going to be teaching you to do. I made this skin the other day, and I'd made a step-by-step making this making this file, this SCS file for the skins. Um, but I ran into an issue where it wasn't working in game and showing up, and then I managed to fix it after the fact. And then I didn't want to use the video because it was like an hour long, and it was unnecessary. The process was right, but the last 35 minutes of the video was me troubleshooting this, trying to figure out what was wrong. But yeah, I'm just gonna redoing the video, so we're gonna start fresh. So this is the file structure we're gonna be building. Your SCS file essentially. I have my OpenDef here for a reason. I'll get into that in a minute. And then I have this folder here which has tutorial stuff and stuff in it, which I will be including a link to my Google Drive, which will have a folder filled with everything that I'll be using in this video to help you guys. um, which if I actually go there, um, excuse me, sorry. But essentially, if I go into here and I look, see right here, it'll be called this Rollin tutorial files, and it'll have the SII files you'll need, the Toby J files you'll need. And I included my images in case people wanted to use them as templates for their sizes to create their own. Up to them, whatever they want. If you want to use them, whatever. I have the XML for Mod Studio 2, and there's a reason for that. Why I included it, but you don't necessarily need it. But if you open it, you can see it has the sleeper variants for the internal names for the truck, and that basically just says, okay, these are what you need to look for, and you'll need those later. I mean, he includes the README file, but these are exactly how they need to be. As it sits, so you would need, say, like this file name right here, duty.peterbilt.389.cabin, and we'll get into that, but essentially, yeah, that's there just in case people want it. I got your mat and your text files, the Toby J editor, which I will get into, which is really important for why things are being messed up, and then something Joel gave to me, ignore that, but it's basically a website. You just downloaded it and you click on it, and it'll open up a Chrome web page that shows you actually I'll show you I'll take you to it when we get to that point. as I go through this, and I'll show you what it does and how you can use it. But essentially, we're going to start. So, the biggest thing you need to do for this is you need to have, this is what, so when you open up a skin file or any mod, usually it looks something like this, right? That's what it'll look like. So I'm basically going to walk you through um, how that process works. And I have a whole website that I was provided that allows me to see all this and kind of tells you how to go through it. But I'm just going to walk you through it because some people are more visual, but I will include a link in the description to that website in case people want to read through it. Um, but essentially, for step one, we're just going to go right off the bat. Um, and I'm actually going to create one myself here. Actually, we'll have this. So we'll go into tutorial and skin temp files, and we'll create a new folder, and this will be our tutorial uh, example skin. Um, and essentially I'll build this with you guys because I think that'll just be easier on everybody. So essentially, let me fix this. So following our layout of one we've already made, what you need to do to start is just create 3 new folders. 1, 2, 3. So alright, and then you need to rename them to def, material, and vehicle. All lowercase, all spelled exactly the way they're shown. Def, material, and vehicle. Rename vehicle. So that's exactly how they need to be, right? Okay. So once you do that, we'll ignore everything else here. Ignore this too. Um, Essentially, we're going to do that. So to start things off, we're going to go into our def file and make a new folder, and we're going to name it vehicle. Right? So we're creating our file structure, and we're going to go into that, and we're going to make this one truck. Right? And we're going to go into that one. This is going to keep going. Now this is where things could change. So if you're working with a different truck, this is your internal name for that truck. So in this case, Rollin's truck, the internal name is Peterbilt.389 because it overwrites the stock SCS Peterbilt. For anyone who owns it knows that. Now, if you were doing this for a different truck, say, I don't know if I look at my list here. Let's go with Dom Diesel and Chrome's truck. If I remember correctly, if I go and verify this really quick, bear with me. I believe the internal name for his truck is Dom 379. Yeah, the internal name for it is Dom's 379. For let's say John Ruta's Classic, it is Freight.xl. For for Ruta's Glider, it's Pete.jc. So on and so forth. Like say the Harvin's Kenworth W990. It's Kenworth.w990. So this right here this name would be that internal name. And that's how that would work. It would tell you what truck to look for. So now, and then you go into that one, and you do another folder. It says paint_job, paint_job, right? Okay. And then in here would be where your first SII file would go. In this case, if I go, not here, let's open up this and go to here. Alright, this is where we need to be, right? Let me shrink this down. Alright, so essentially, we're going to shrink this down too and put you right here. So what you need from this one is one of these SII files. Hold on, let me take a look at something. Okay, yeah, okay, so so for in this case, in the tutorial, you'll need, the way they're set up, you'll need the paint underscore example SII file. Now in this case, I'm not going to worry about changing the names, but if I open up this one, I will show you side-by-side comparison of what needs to be changed. And then I open this one next to it, and you can see side by side, okay, here's your two files. So where you see example right here, like this one, is where you would put your skin internal name, right? And it'll be, um, from what I've researched, 12 characters max. That includes spacing and anything else. So like this one is 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's 10, um, which is fine. That seems to be the one where the game reads anything more and it doesn't. I've noticed with MS2 and ATS Studio on testing that their character limits are 12 for the internal name, and they can only contain certain characters. Like it allows the use of underscores. So for spaces, I use underscores um, because you can't use a space or a capital letter in that internal name. So that's how that works. Essentially, so that's the first thing you need to change. Anything else, leave the same. Right here, where you see this, would be your skin display name in the game. And then you would have your price, the unlock level, the icon. Now this one's important. So if I show you here, so your icon will always be your DDS. You'll need one JPEG and one DDS for this to work properly. You can have two DDSs, but it's better if one's a JPEG and everything. As you can see, mine is bwcg2.dds, which is the image that it shows in the, I just opened it, I'm just letting it, yeah, there it goes. It should pop up at some point here in a second. Yeah, there it goes. So you'll see this is, whenever it's done loading, so you can see it's small, but this is the image that'll show in the shop. And it needs to be file resize. It needs to be 256 by 64. That's what it needs to be. And that's, you'll put that name right here. All right. And then stock you'll keep false, airbrush you'll keep true, and you'll go from there. Now the next thing, your paint job mask. And these are names you need to remember, so I usually keep them all the same. So like here, it's met underscore stripe, and this one I have is met underscore stripe. So you need to do the same thing. So whatever this name is, I like to make sure this name here is exactly the same, right? And then pretty much for that, you're done with the renaming of things. But it basically tells you that for your paint job mask, this is where you need to go for that. It'll look for this Toby J, and then that Toby J will tell you where the skin is. So in this case, mine will be in this file path inside my mod folder in my .ses. So once you have that, you're good there. Now this stuff, this is where that color converter comes in play that I talked about. So like you get up to 4 colors on a color selectable skin. You have your base, your truck skin, and then you can have your 3 colors, red, green, and blue, or whatever color you choose. You can say look for this color, and whatever this color is, you can change it, or you can lock it to that specific color and say don't change it at all. Now you can see here these all say false, so if you say you set this one to a red, or actually let's say you set this to a yellow, let's say, and then you make this true, it will lock whatever color it sees in that slot, which would be yellow, as that color, and you won't be able to change it. But if you keep it false, whatever is yellow will be able to change on that color scale, and nothing else will be affected, as long as these are all different colors. So that's how that works. And you can get these values. So if you take a real life color, if I go here, graphics, Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if I have it saved. Oh, I know where I can find it. So if I go in here, go here. So if I click on my HTML, so it'll pop up here, right? So if you go here, you enter your values for your color. You can find them, like if you're using a skinning program like Photoshop, which I have here. So like if I go and open up, let's open up this. So let's say I take this and I grab my little fancy eyedropper and I click this color, right? So if I wanted to, I could look at not properties, not there. Where would it? I gotta remember where it is because I don't really look for it on here. Oh, I think it's a little thing. Where is it? Bear with me. I know. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so if you use the color sampling tool, and then you on Photoshop, you'll get this little pop-up that shows you like say, okay, so color 1. So if I delete these, delete. So color 1 right here, right? Which shows right here. These are the RGB colors. So you can take those, go to this website, and enter in those values. So this would be, in this case, 240, 159, and 24. And you would hit convert color. In this, you just take this, copy, come over to your .ssi here, and then you would highlight this, include the parentheses, and you would do Control V, and it would replace that. There's your color. Now we're not gonna. I'm just gonna leave them 0 because this is for, you know, your example. But anyway, so you would do that, and that's how you would do that, and you do that for all your other colors. And then right here you go true or false depending on which ones you want it locked or not. So moving on. So these are default settings for metallic and everything. This is your color, your flip color, and this is your flake color. So this will be the main color that changes. This will be your secondary color that changes. And you don't need to worry about renaming this, just keep it the same. But you do that and you can adjust these as you see fit, but make sure this is true if you want it to be metallic. Otherwise, leave it false. And then same thing for these. If you want the colors locked, change them. If not, keep them false. And then this has to remain true. Now you do that and you're good. Now, the one part that's not on here is this. You need to have this line in here, which I'm going to include and then re-upload. Control V, and then we'll do example .peterbilt.389.cabin. Okay, so anyway, so we're gonna have that. So this is the cabin it's going to be, and you can put multiple in here, but this will be the cabin it'll go on. So say flat top, which is standard on this one, is what the internal name is for. This is basically your cabin internal name, which you can find in your um, your truck files. So like in here, if you go in here and you find user resources, templates, and then I believe it's not this one, it is readme skinning, and here are your internal names. Here's the internal truck name, and here is, well, actually, if you go right here, so here are all your internal names right here on this right side of the equal sign. Actually, no, actually I lied, it's these. It's on the left side. So your internal name, And these are the cabin internal names, and these are the sleepers they go with. So standard is flat top duties, duty cab, day cab. Low 63 is that low cab with the 63-inch stand up, and then this is the high cab, different heights. Um, Essentially that's what you do. And then somewhere in here you have your trailer too, which is I think in the Mac information. But essentially that's what would go on this little spot right here. And then it has to be .389, which is your internal name, .cabin. And then you're good there. So essentially you don't have to do anything there. We're just gonna close that and then close this. But essentially, yeah, you're pretty much in. You can put multiple cabins here. You just make sure that it does this, and then controls Control C, and then Control V, and then there you go for however many cabins you want it to be used for, and then you can. I'm just gonna delete this, and then okay, so there you go. So that's all you need for that. Once that's done, you just hit save. Um, and close that, and then you want to make sure this is renamed to something. I usually keep it the same name as this. Whatever I named this and this to, I keep it to what I put that also here. So like if I look here, this one says met underscore stripe. So I keep them all the same for the most part, where it matters. So once we are done there, we can go back out to our main file where all three of these are, and go to the material one. Open that up, go to material, click, and you do new folder, UI, go in there, new folder, accessory, if I can spell it right, ACCESSORY. So for some reason I always spell it wrong. Okay, go in there, and this is where your first OBJ will go, your mat file will go, and your DDS file for your internal picture for in the shop. This is where it'll go to read those. So I'm going to just copy and paste mine over. So copy and paste, because mine will never change for mine. They will always be this. So your first one, so we'll start with this. So this will be your skin that I included for you guys if you so chose to use it, or use it as a template essentially and save over top of it. Do what you would like, but you do that, and then so that would go in here, right? And then you would take your example.mat, you would drag it over, and it needs to be the same name as your DDS. So as you can see, all three of these are exactly the same name. So now in the mat, once it's over here and renamed, you open it up, and you need to make sure your texture says this in that box, and then this needs to be textured. This up here needs to say UI. It'll be already like this, so if I open up the example.met and say, yeah, okay, this is what it'll look like. The only line you'll need to worry about changing is this right here to whatever your DDS file name is. Now, like I said, it's easier to keep them all the same name. You don't have to technically, but it's easier that way, just less stress. So once you do that, you can save it, you click save, you close it, and it's done. Now your Toby J is a little bit different, but I kept it whatever you named it in your mat needs to be named here. I keep it the same, uniformed, easy to do. Now, when you do that, you need to find your Toby J editor that you got from the my Google Drive that I included, and you need to take your Toby J, hover over that Toby J edit.exe, and this little window will pop up, right? And it'll say this file path. Don't change the file path to what that says. You just need to change this word here to whatever that DDS is. Because, so what it's doing is the game is reading your mat file. Your mat file is then reading your TobyJ file, and your TobyJ file is then reading the DDS file. And it's basically telling your game to go from mat to TobyJ to DDS. And that's how it's reading it. Kind of doesn't make sense to me, but that's how SCS set up their files to read. So you do that, You make sure that's the same. You click save, or you can do save as and save it to this file path if your TobyJ is not in your folder already. Like I'm doing this, I'm just making it easier this by doing it all as I go. You just click save, and then you can close the window, and that should be it. And then just to be sure you did it right, you can just double click it, open it, this window will come up, and it should say what that little box said. So bwcg2.dds, which matches this. And then that's it. Once you're done with that, you go back out to your directory. And we move on to your final folder, which is your vehicle folder. This will be where your skin goes. So when you go in your vehicle, you'll need a new folder. Just call it truck. You need to open that. You'll need a new folder, and you'll call it upgrade. And then you'll go into that folder, and you go into that one, and you click new folder, paint job, one word this time, not without no underscore. Go into that one, and this will be where your skin file will go, your DDS, whichever skin you're doing. So in this case, mine was this, which if I open up, it'll be, you can see the skin for my truck, and then you'll have another, that second TobyJ file, which in this case, I have as, so I had one that was the material example.tobj. That's the one I had set up to be used in the material folder that we just did with this, with the .dds stuff. And then I have one labeled as paint underscore example. Technically, you only need to download one of them, but I just kept them like that. So it's like, say you need two, so I made two. So you take that, you put it in here, like this one. Um, yeah, essentially, what you'll do is you'll have copy, and I will just paste these in here. This, and I don't have a skin yet, so I'll probably, before I upload the tutorial example thing, if I decide to upload it to my Google Drive, I might not, just because I'm kind of teaching you how to do this, so I'd rather you guys actually do it than just take what I did and go with it. You don't learn anything that way. So basically, you would put your paint example TobyJ in here, and then you would take your DDS file, which is what you would save it as. You'd save it as .dds with either paint.net, GIMP, Photoshop, whatever you're using. And then that would be it. That would, and has to be the same, like 4096 by 4096, you know how it is supposed to be. That's the 4K one. There's an 8K one or a 2K. As long as they're multiplied by a power of 2, you're good. And then you would put that also in this folder. So I would take this, we're just going to copy and paste and call it good. So now, like I said, it's easier to keep all the names the same. So I would change this TobyJ to met underscore stripe, save, and that'd be the name. And then I would do the same thing over again with the last Toby, like I did with the last one. I'd take it, hover over the .exe, the window would pop up. I would change where it says example to met underscore stripe. I'd go file and save. Now you can see, here's the reason why I made two, because this one, the file path's already done. It says vehicle slash truck slash upgrade. It takes you through that file path. So you don't have to rewrite the file path. So it's already there, it's good. And then when you do that, once you change the name, you click save and you close it. And you can open this up, check it, make sure your name is changed, and you're good. Now, I'm going to delete this because it's a skin I made for somebody, actually. But essentially, you do that, you're good. And then, now here is where things can change. So everyone knows that with Rollin, you want if you have those texture files and they're like your step boxes, your door panels, your floor, your ceiling and headliner, your shifter, the hood ornament, all of those things that have editable textures, you can actually bypass. So if you're making multiple skins or you're making a skin for somebody else, you don't have to say, okay, these files go in your dev folder, go put them in, figure it out or something, or give them some dev file, a copy of a dev file with their specific logos. You can actually put them in your skin file itself, and not have to worry about that. And here's how you're going to do it. So with your OpenDef, if you look at it, you can see it has a similar file structure to the one we just made. So if we go here, we're looking at this, it has a def and it has a vehicle. It doesn't have a material because it doesn't need it. But if you go into your def, your vehicle and your truck, your Peterbilt 380 paint job, and you go into this one, you can see here's the camera. It shows special camera things, I guess, and then you got engine and transmission. So if you had special engines you want to put in or special transmissions you want to put in that aren't yet available to the Rollin, you can go into this final path. So right where it would say Peterbilt.389, you would add, once you go in here, you would add these two folders. You would add engine and transmission. So like it would look like this. So folder engine and then new folder and transmission. Spelled exactly how it should be across the board, and then you would put those in there. And that's how that would work. Same thing if you were doing this. So if you go into vehicle, you would go through the file path truck, and then once you get there, you have an option. You see there's two folders in your def, and there's one in your skin. Now, if you go into the new one, which says new, so you could, oh, I didn't mean to do that, cancel. If you do new folder, and you can do this as a baseline to set up all of your skins, even if you don't use them, it's fine. You do Peterbilt underscore 389, right? So you do that, and you would go into this one, see another new folder. So you do new folder, interior. This is where all your interior stuff would go, like I said, and then new folder, new folder, custom, right? If I gotta spell it right first, right? Okay, cool. So you do that, now you got custom. And then you go into that one and go into this one. And this, as you can see, is where your textures are. So if you wanted to have a ceiling one, you would put what I do is I usually take the templates of the ones I'm going to use for that specific skin and throw them into my skin file. If I haven't already created them. If I already created, usually the first thing I do when I'm creating a skin is I make my file structure for my mod, get it out of the way. That way I know, hey, I'm doing all of these stuff. That way, when I go to say, when I finish my ceiling, _7 texture, I save it as that file name, but I put it in this file path, so it goes directly into my mod. I don't have to deal with it later, it's done. Same thing if you wanted to do a knob logo, you just throw that in there. Or the door panel logo, you throw that in there. As long as they are these names specifically as they are shown in the def file, you're good. They'll show up in game, as long as you wrote everything correctly. Now, if we go back out to here, where we have our two choices, if we go into upgrade, you can see where our paint job is, and our paint job TobyJ and our skin file. The paint job folder is where your skin goes, but you have these other three folders. So if we do new folder, new folder, new folder, you would have this one, which is the first one would be doorsteps, which is your doorstep logos. Your next one will be your license plates, L plate, and the next one would be your ornament, which is your hood ornament, right? And then inside your hood ornament, you would see, okay, the line.dds, that would go in there, cool. Your plate folder, you would have another folder inside that one that says Peterbilt underscore 389. Do that, go inside it, go inside this one. You have 4 plate choices, so you want to do plate 7, change it to whatever, you put plate 7 in there, okay? And then we go to doorsteps, you would see that it also has a folder inside it called Peterbilt underscore 389. Okay, you go inside that, you go inside this, and you look, okay, so say I want to do overlay 9C. You'd put that one in there, rename it later. Cool, you're done. And that's how you would do that. And all of them will read in game, and you won't even need to enable the def, because you'll just need to have your skin enabled. And I close that because I don't no longer need it. But essentially, that is what all of your files, that takes care of all 3 of these files. You're done. You don't need to touch them again. That's why I would create one in a folder somewhere say, wherever you store your mods or whatever. Not in your mods folder specifically, but like on another drive or somewhere. Like I have an entire drive dedicated to all of my gaming stuff, graphic stuff, whatever have you, that I keep. Um, and you will have all of that ready to go. Um, Easy to do. Now, that was a lot of talking, so I'm going to go back out here. So here, this is where the other part of everything goes. So if I go into here, cool, you will see I have technically four extra files, but this one doesn't exist. We're ignoring this one. But we have three extra files here that we haven't touched that are also included. One of them, the JPEG. We go back to talking about the JPEG. This is your file that will display in your mod manager when you go to enable your mod. That is what this one is, and game reads it better by default as JPEG. DDS you can get to work, you just have to change a couple extra letters. But JPEG by default is just easier, so I just saved it as a JPEG. Basically, but you take that, you put it in here, you name it, and it's .jpeg. Now, once it's in there, you're good. So I would take this. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. And I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to paste it in here. So this is what you should have right now on this one. And then once you have that, you're good. Now we're going to skip the description and move on to the manifest. So this is your other .sii file that I'm going to include for you that you need to have. So once you have it, copy, and you're going to paste it in here, just like that. And you'll open it in Notepad. Don't worry about changing the name. Keep it manifest.sii, and you're good. So here's what you need to do now. Once you open it, as you can see, should be laid out just like this. You'll have an example like this. So like if I delete this one, and I actually take this one, copy, paste, and I open it, and you see with Notepad, you'll see it'll say this. So as you can see, your display name will go here. This will what it'll be displayed in. So anything outside of that file structure will be what it shows in the mod folder. So your display name as the mod folder in the game will be whatever this is. It doesn't need to necessarily match, but if you want it to match, you can. It can be whatever you say it is. You put that in those parentheses, and then here would be the author. So yourself, or in this case, because it's me, I have it saying Bears West Coast Graphics, because I am the author of this particular mod, or skin, whatever you want to call it. Now, once you do that, your icon will need to be this. This is where I said if you made it a DDS, this is what you would change. So instead of bwcg1.dds, it would say this. And I'm not actually sure if it'll work as a DDS, which is why I still have a JPEG, but we're going to keep it that way because we're just going to keep it that way. I have no real reason. But essentially, once you do that, you change it like that, make sure your name matches, capitals and everything, and you're good. This you don't need to worry about changing unless you change the name of your description text. So whatever this file here reads, it needs to say the exact same thing here. And then category, you can put it wherever. If you want it to be engine or something, engine transmission, you can put it there, whatever. Mine's paint underscore job because it is a paint job. So that's what I have it named. So once you do that, you save it, file save, and you close it. And put it, make sure it's in there. Once you do that, you move on to your description text. You put it in there. It's a .text file. Mine, I actually have, I'm going to rename this to what it should be, mod underscore description. Yep. And you're going to open it up. So you can see I have it. We're going to change this to example. So this is a standard layout I usually do. So it'll be a recreation or a custom usually skin of, if it's a recreation, it'll be a recreation skin of blank, or it'll be a custom skin or something something truck skin and in 4 or 8K format. It'll also include if it's a custom metallic, who it's by, who it's for, if it's just for a specific person, what truck it's for, who that truck is by, and it'll say this also because, yeah. Like, see, like this is a good example. So I made a skin for this guy. I put the skin owner. I put who made the skin, myself. Like this one, it says a recreation skin made by me. No way to be edited or redistributed by anyone other than me or the owner of the created skin. Do not upload without any permission. The skin is designed to only fit the specific truck, which is Rollin, which is a paid mod made by Joel Collins. Typo. File save via Facebook. Cabins allowed, and it'll be the cabin. And I started doing this thing where I said if it was metallic or not. And that's pretty much basic. You can have it say whatever you want it to say. You don't even have to technically have it in there. Same thing with this file. You don't technically even have to have an image file in there. It'll still show up regardless. And the mod itself will still show up. It just won't have a fancy little picture. But essentially, once all of that is done, you just highlight it all like so, right click, and depending on if you're using 7-zip, which I don't really use that often, I don't think I have it installed anymore, or if you're using WinRAR, I'm going to use WinRAR in this case because it's easier. You would click add to archive. You would click this option down here, archive format to .zip. You would take this, name it to whatever you want your mod to be named. It doesn't matter, it can be named Stripes, Rollin, Stripes, whatever the hell you want it to be named, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that after your dot, you have SCS in lower cases. And then you just click OK. That do its thing, and it'll pop up here. Here is your SCS file ready to be added to your mods folder and used in your game. And you just use it like any other mod. Put in your mods folder, enable it in game, launch your game, go to your truck or the shop and use it. Now, once you're done with that, you're good. And that's pretty much everything you need to do and everything you need to know about making the mod for Rollin's 389 in the best possible way possible. Now, I know for sure that my metallic stripes works because I tested it yesterday, and I even did it in my video that I made yesterday about this, so I know the method works. The only issue I had was my SII file path. The name of it wasn't reading, so I shortened the name and it started working, so I assume that was my fix. But I don't have any like hard concrete confirmation on that, so with that, I'm just saying if there's any issues and I discover things that are actually different or find a new solution or whatever, a new problem, I'll make a video about it, post it up, or I'll make a list of things to check in case things are not working. If not, DM me on Discord. I'm always online. Just find my name in the Rollin Discord bears, #1517, find me there, add me as a friend or whatever, shoot me a message and say, hey, I'm running into this issue, here's what's happening, and I will help you when I can and as best as I can. But with that, this video went a little longer than I would have thought, because the first time I did this, I made my file structure in like 25 minutes. But I added more things and more details to this one, and kind of talked a little bit more and explained some things. But essentially with that, this is going to be the end of this video. I'm going to end it, upload it for you guys, post in the Rollin Discord, and with that, enjoy the video, and please comment below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or shoot me a message on Discord. I'm always here, and I'm always happy to help. See ya.